So I got this 1973 Cheyenne Super 10. Really excited about this one. $454. It's got the nice little brush guard here. I'm not sure if this was something a dealer put on, or did it come with that from the dealership or what? These lights, were they factory option, or, I mean, those are kind of cool, but it's got some rust. Rocker panels, got some holes. It's got a toolbox inside though. I mean, that's rusted out. I don't even know if I can open it. It's got some stuff growing on it. Hole here. Got some rust down there. It's got a tailgate though. A little beat up. Bumper. It's got all kinds of wheels and stuff back here. I don't know if those actually go to this truck or if they'll fit this truck, but let's look at that. You can always use some wheels. Hopefully that's a spare that fits, you know. Put a tire on that and have as a spare. Might want to use that if I get this thing running and driving. It's got 2 tanks. They're probably completely full of rust, but who knows. Got a dent here. Not too bad, just, it's got it. The hood don't have a crinkle in it though. Looks like it's not got that crinkle spot in the middle. Windshield's cracked. The rest of the glass looks like it's good. Let's get inside of it, see what that looks like. Looks like everything's here. This is super sticky, guaranteed. It looks sticky. Not only does it feel sticky, but it looks sticky. You're gonna have to clean that for sure. Maybe even just find another wheel off anything. I don't know if I want to drive it back with that steering wheel. Got a user manual. 73. Bench seat's still here. It's got a little bit of tape. It's got 33,742, which is probably 233,742. This is not a good sign right here. That's not good. You don't want to find this in your floorboard of a truck that you want to start and drive home. Great. I actually might hold on to that. We might need that. Is this like some sort of brake controller? There's a switch here for something. It's got an 8-track player in it. Huh. It's an AC truck. Glove box is empty. I know that because there it is. There's the breather. So the carb's uncovered, probably full of water, probably seized completely up. Let's look underneath this hood. Oh, the hood bolts are loose. Something's been living on top of this motor and has been stacking. These are actually pretty, this is just recent. This is not that old. Something's still in here probably, but this is all clean. Needs cleared up, but it is a 454 though still. That's apparent by the very large engine that's in here. Red valve cover on that side, and that side's, I guess it's red too, it's just kind of rusty. Carburetor is, it's trying to move, but it's kind of gummed up. I have to soak that all down. Ooh, it's got water in the radiator. It smells like antifreeze. It's green. It's got antifreeze in it still, so radiator holds fluids. Very black oil, full. Actually looks like a little over full, but it's black, very black. How's it feel? How does it will feel? Gritty, dirty. Look at that fan motor. Looks like it's newish. Could I possibly have a fan motor that works? That'd be kind of cool. Only if this thing will run. The mice have eaten on the plug wires. I can already see that. They're pretty much non-existent. It's a points. She's got points. I get to play with those. But the AC compressor's still here. It's probably locked up completely. Yep, it's locked up. I'm not even gonna look at that yet. I'm gonna wait on looking at those brakes. Let's get it running. See if we can get it running and then go from there. I don't know. It's got oil in it though, so it doesn't have any major big holes in the pan or anything. So see if I can get the motor turning over by hand, and I want to spray these cylinders down on this one and spray that carb down. First, I'm going to pull all these plugs and soak the cylinders real quick. But here we go. Okay, first thing, get these plugs out. Wires, some of them. Has this got a plug in it? Yeah, it does. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Yeah, it does. There's just all kinds of crap. Something was trying to move into the inside of the engine. It was trying to get there, but it wasn't making much progress getting there. I can't even get a socket in there. So much mouse crap stuck up in there. All right, let's try this plug. See if I can get this plug out. Yep, there it goes. Okay. Lots of crap on the motor. Need to find a shop vac to suck all this trash out. Heavily oil fouled. 44T Delco. Gosh, I cannot get inside these. It's got little heat shields. Hard to get around. Actually rotating the socket to cut through the crap to get to the spark plug. I think that one finally broke free. Nope, just can't get on it. There it goes. As heavily oil fouled as these plugs are, I couldn't think they'd be seized up. Well, that one so far. I bet this one's probably not any better. Probably just as bad. All right, I'll finish getting this side of the plugs out. I'll move over to the other side. And over to the passenger side. So, definitely got some water in that cylinder. It's rusty. This one's oil fouled. This one had a little bit of water, some moisture. a little rusty. This one just completely carbon buildup. Just real bad carbon. Actually, both these are pretty much carbon built up. They're really bad carbon buildup. I don't think they've been changed in a very, 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 very long time. And these two look like they've had some moisture on them. So hopefully this thing isn't so froze up that I can't get it unseized, but I bet it's seized. Okay, get the rest of these plugs out the driver's side. And get some Troll oil in this thing. Let it set for a little while we clean off the rest of this motor. I need to spray that carburetor down. I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I keep forgetting. I need to do that now. Probably need to spray those down too. Now. I finally got the 4 spark plugs out on the driver's side. The back one was really hard to get to because this thing has heat shields around the spark plug. Right here's little heat shields. Well, something crawled up in here, and there was like a mud dauber nest in that back one. And this one, they crawled up in there and made a bunch of little nests and just packed them things full, so getting a socket in there was not easy. And I soaked these down. I soaked the carburetor down. I'm gonna let it set for a little while with this stuff in it, with this juice in it, and then I'll try to turn that over. But it's getting dark. It's getting dark. We're gonna take the fan off because I can't get to that bolt without taking the fan off. So that's what we're gonna do. Take the fan off. Really wish I had a ratcheting wrench right now to take these off. Just not the fastest way to remove a fan. Well, got the fan off. And I'm gonna try to get a wrench down here. Now that I've got some real estate cleared up, and see if I can do anything to this crank down here. Maybe. Nope. Don't want to move. She's stuck. Yep. We'll soak this thing down and see if in the morning I'll get a flywheel wrench on it, see if I can help break it loose. We're inside now. The truck, I came back this morning and the truck was just in here. Not really, but this morning, real early, my brother-in-law told me I could use his shop to work on the truck because it's gonna rain today. It's supposed to be colder, mainly rain, but it's supposed to be colder too, but I didn't want us to be out in the rain, and I don't have the time because this engine, being that it's locked up and I'm gonna have to break it free, I don't have time. So this thing's gotta run today. I think I'll clean this off first, get the valve covers off, check all the valve train, make sure that everything's like it should be before I start wrenching on this thing, trying to break it free, because if I don't want to bind something up that I could fix before I break it, if that makes sense. All right, let's clean this off and break this motor free. Okay, so I've got the coil removed now. I'm gonna have to clean all that out, and then I'll see if I can get a wrench under that bolt down there, under the distributor, get this thing ripped out, so I can finally prime the engine with oil. So I was able to get the distributor pulled out, finally. Notice this was chewed off, so that would have never worked. That's great. Let's splice onto that. These points are probably filthy. Be easier to clean it out though. Looks like there's oil in the engine still that's not terrible. Alright, let's see if we can prime this engine. Oil pump turns. Get this on here. I've never had one of these tools, but this is a really cool tool, I have to say. Alright, so I got the tool inserted to prime the oil pump. Slid right in there, has a little cap that slides over the top. Seats right in nicely. So I'm going to put my drill on this and run it very slowly. Get a little oil pressure built. I don't want to crank a whole bunch of RPMs. Basically, I'll probably spin it about as fast as the motor would turn over. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to mount the drill to that. I'm going to have you inside watching it. And you guys are going to tell me, when I spin that, if this thing builds any oil pressure. Alright, let me know if there's any oil pressure. So there's oil pressure. Well, that's good. So the oil pump's doing the oil pump thing. We're making oil pressure. I'm gonna run that a little longer. I might put some Marvel in the crankcase and run some Marvel through it just to help maybe unseize a few things. Run that around in it, then get underneath it, get the cover off the transmission and use the flywheel wrench on it. See if we can get it to rotate. Oh, let's see what it takes to get this cover off the transmission. It's got a Pennzoil filter in her. Don't see any giant holes in the block. Freeze plugs are still in. Huh. It actually looks like the valve covers are leaking. Oh, there comes the cover. Come on. Get out of there. Well, does that look like? What's that rear main seal look like? Nope. Rear main seal's not leaking. It's definitely not the rear main seal because it's not all over in here. We don't have a whole bunch of oil in here. Transmission seal on the front is leaking just a touch. Okay, flywheel wrench. get underneath here and see if I can get it to move around at all. Well, so after putting a pry bar on it and prying and pulling and soaking, I've actually got it to rotate about a quarter turn. So now I'm pulled the valve cover. I want to soak all this down. I'm going to go ahead and remove this bracket over here. And I'm going to get this taken loose here and see if I can get this valve cover off. Might have to take this AC. Might be able to just pivot it over to one side. So I'm removing this AC compressor, and I have a thought. How many of you think this thing might still have a charge? Because it's all still hooked up. There's nothing broke free, so the air conditioning lines look complete. You think it's still got a charge in it? Huh. I'm gonna say no, but I've known sometimes guys have taken these off and said, wow, this stupid thing was still charged. So I'm going to be cautious when taking this off, but I think it's empty. I don't know. We'll see. Almost got it there. Got the valve cover off this side. Just making sure everything's freed up. The push rods look like they're free. Nothing's bound up. Nothing has come apart in the valve train. So the valve train, it's kind of funny though, the left head, the passenger side head, is much cleaner than the driver's side head. Driver's side head's dirtier, so I'm gonna wonder if this one's been replaced on this side before. Not real sure. But yeah, that one's dirtier than that one. So, but I sprayed everything down, some penetrating oil just to make sure everything gets freed up. And see what happens. But the oil didn't have any water in it, so I don't think the head gaskets were blown when it was parked, at least. So, you know, that's good. Run the drill on the pump, see if I can get it to get some oil around here some more, let it set a little bit more with that oil in it, and see if I can continue to get it broken free. So I was able to turn the motor a little bit. I used the starter, and I think that the starter needs to be taken out and cleaned. With everything that's been crammed up everywhere, I'm sure that starter's full of crud, so we're gonna go ahead and pull the starter out. But we'll see. I'll get it out here and show you what it looks like inside. Hopefully not too bad. I tried the jump starter, and the gear kicks out. Gear kicks out, and then it doesn't turn. And I took it apart. There was windings inside of it. It's full of grease. It's just really, really bad. So starter is toast. So run the parts store, grab a starter, put that back on, and then hopefully the C10 will turn over. There's the new starter. So I'll get some light over here. This is where my arm's just gonna burn. I wonder what the blue was on the tire here. Huh. Oh! I never even noticed someone painted these wheels metallic blue. And they didn't really do a good job of cleaning them. But that would have been a cool color though. But blue? Why blue? Graphite? Okay, but blue? Doesn't really make sense with the color scheme on this pickup truck. Huh. Oh well, get the starter back in. I lost all power coming from the leads. I'm not getting proper ground from here, from the motor to the frame, to the body, etc. So I'm cleaning up these grounds over here, cleaning up all the grounds and then gonna reattach and then make sure I got good grounds. Then I'll put the battery back in and see if I turn the key and get power back, because the power just went away. So I'm still chasing this electrical short. Not sure where it is, but I'm gonna get inside the cab, pull all the fuses out of the fuse panel, and try to chase it back this way. Because I've chased the starter wire, it's not shorted, but I still have a short from the ignition switch down there, from that wire to the frame. So there's a short somewhere in the electrical system on that side, not the main cables. So I'm gonna go chase that. But to do that, to diagnose that, I am going to vacuum this out and lay something in here, because I really don't want to lay in that, but I've got to get up under this dash, and there's all kinds of added stuff in here. So probably start deleting on a few things that have been added in that's probably shorted, and basically bare minimum, pull the fuses out, go through it, and only, you know, only what we need, and see if I can get rid of this short. Well, I got a little carried away, but that's a lot better than it was. At least I can get in here and maybe not roll around in a bunch of crap, but I gotta get up under here. I don't even know if you can see those. I gotta take these fuses out, start chasing this short out. After finding all this cobbled up wire, different things that were added / deleted, which wasn't really deleted, but just leaving hanging under the dash and everywhere, pulling some fuses out, I now do not have a short. So now that I don't have a short, I'm gonna put the starter back in and hook the battery back up and see if we can use the ignition without it shorting out, freaking out. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Found out my battery cables were corroded, and switching over the top post to the side post is driving me insane. So got some new cable, gonna make up some new leads to the starter, make a new ground cable, and get this hooked up to a top post battery, and see if I can get this thing to turn, starter to engage, because the starter just, as soon as I go to start it, it clicks. Basically I lose all power, and then I go around and wiggle this wire in the middle of the old one. I could wiggle the middle of it and get power back. So I think it just had corrosion all built up inside the old copper lead. Replace all these, see if that'll get the starter working properly and everything staying on, and go from there. Alright, got the new battery cables on. Put you right here. You let me know if it turns over. There it is. Alright, let me know what happens. She's free. She's free now. Okay. Did the valve train move? I gotta see if the valve train moved. Oh, that's exciting. Now I'm pumped. Now we can get somewhere. She's free. She's rolling over. That is a very good sign. Did the valve train move though? Now that the motor's broke free, I gotta get the list together. We need all kinds of stuff. We need points and spark plugs and wires. The wires were chewed up by the mice. Spark plugs were trash. Points, the wire was ate off of those. Everything's, I need to take those apart and check them. I might not have to get points, but I'm gonna say probably points. But points, I've got to get some gas. But yeah, we're right there. I'm hoping we can get this thing to turn over, kick, bark off, and make some noise, and hopefully run. Okay, gotta go ahead and replace this wire on the distributor, which was coming down through here, but it was chewed off, so it's not long to make it. Don't really want to make a splice out here, so I'm gonna use a piece of wire that we have, rerun this back through there, try to reuse this connector through here. I want it to be pointing towards here. That's not too far. There we go. Now I just gotta rotate the motor to drop the pump down, to get it dropped in the pump. There she is. I'll file a bit in here. There's a little bit of buildup inside here on a couple of them. A little carbon buildup. But these aren't ate out. Like, I don't see any like spots where they're completely burned. Like, you can see a groove burned into it. Nothing's burned into it, so, well, this one is a little bit right there. That one has a little bit of a indentation there. Not a lot. It'll run on it. If it is going to run, it'll run on it. If it's got compression, which it looks as it does, then we get some fuel in there. She should at least bark over and run a little bit. We've done our best trying to lube it, let it set. I don't know how better else to prep it for bringing it back to life after being seized. So, done everything in my power to try to save it. Everything in my budget's power. Let's just say that. I have no idea where the coil wire is for this thing, because there was not one that I could find. So this valve was stuck down right here. I ended up having to, I put my compression tester tool on there, shot some B12 up into, or seafoam up into the cylinder and blew it up inside the cylinder. We'll say I used air and I didn't blow this with my mouth. But anyway, I blew the seafoam up in the cylinder, got it bubbling around in there, and blew on it until I could hear it sloshing around and bubbling. Then I worked this with a rubber mallet. Worked it with a rubber mallet and also a pry tool, and kind of worked it to where if it went down a little bit, I'd immediately pry it back up, and then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until it finally popped free. So hopefully that valve is no longer stuck. We'll see once I put the rocker arm back on. Now it's got compression. Okay. Now I've got the passenger side valve cover on, working on the driver's side. Alright, well, I got back from the parts store with the plug wires. I'm gonna go ahead and get the plugs and the wires on and see if we can. I'll probably just run a hot wire to the battery and then to the coil, and that way I'll just start it out here, try to start it, and then see how it runs. And then if everything goes good, Then I'm going to go ahead and trace all the wiring out to hook the coil up to the ignition, because right now I don't know, a lot of it's screwed up and it's a mess. So, all right, get the plug wires on. Truth. Fill the carburetor. Fuel. I actually didn't put two-stroke oil in this because I have severely lubed this engine, so we need less oil. It's going to be very smoky with all that concoction that's inside of it. Very, very smoky. So, if it starts. So I guess, here we go. Well, these points, though they don't look that bad, I cleaned on them and stuff, they just wouldn't do anything. So I picked up another set, threw them in there, and they did the point thing. They worked fine, and these don't look that bad. In fact, I'm so doubtful, I'm thinking about keeping these and maybe cleaning them up a little more and seeing if I can make them work. I don't know. Okay. Oh, all that oil. Okay, well anyway, we're gonna have put the breather on it now, just in case I have to, close that for some reason. Just in case. Anyway, hey, it runs. I'd like to get it warmed up a little bit so that I could get the oil out of it, get the trash oil out, put some fresh oil in. all that crap put in there to break it free. There's a lot of stuff in there. A lot of juices. So get this out. Put a filter in. Some fresh oil. I bet she'll like that a lot more than that crap right there. Just to give you guys an idea of how runny this oil is. Oh wow. Actually, it wasn't that much in the filter. I don't even know what this truck's gonna think about this clean of oil. Let's go ahead and get the fan and the shroud back on here. Get the water pump belt on. Get that done. Shroud has to go first. Got the fan on. Now I'm going to get all these belts put on here, the power steering. I'm interested to see if the power steering works good. Still has fluid in it, it's not dried out, so hey, it'd be cool if that works. Let it run for a little while. Open the door up and see if she'll kick off for us and run for a little while. Fresh oil, see what happens. We gotta get the carburetor rebuilt.
I did find a rebuild kit. O'Reilly's had one. I didn't think I'd be able to find one, but I found one. So I'm gonna have to get that thing off first thing this morning and let it take it apart, let it soak, and then we can address some other stuff. Brakes, maybe. Yeah, brakes, wiring, lights, stuff like that. But we don't even know if it shifts at this point, so that's kind of bad. But the transmission fluid doesn't look terrible. There's no major leaks on the transmission. And I think this truck was parked probably because of that stuck valve and a lot of other things. And the wire that was ran across to the coil, someone tried to get it running, they tried to mess with it, just didn't get there. So, but the stuck valve was probably why it was parked, because I mean that would have been, it would have ran horrible with that valve stuck. I would think that that valve was stuck because the motor was just froze in general. But when I pulled the valve covers before we even got the motor broke free, that valve was down, like down. So being that valve stuck down, that could possibly be why they parked it. And cleaned it out with some C10, cleaned up the valve, got it to break free, and now it actually didn't run that bad. I mean, really, the top end, it's not even clattery. I mean, the top end sounds great. On hearing major knocks, so get a carburetor rebuilt, get it on there. I think there's a good chance we can possibly drive it. But I'd sure like to get it. I haven't really revved on it or anything, just because I'd like to get the carburetor rebuilt, dead gas out of the tank, get some filters on this fuel system, and probably gonna have to cut that line right there, just because that's so froze I can't get it off. So we gotta get this carburetor off. Needs to be soaking. That fuel line is not gonna break free. Oh, maybe this vice grip will give me enough. I can get this thing. Oh, I think it broke free. Nope, it broke free. That's good. Crusty. As much as we soaked this down, I'd be surprised if these bolts were seized, because this carburetor got soaked. Mechanical choke lock. Okay. Alright. Don't do that. Okay. Carburetor off. Alright, carburetor's off. I don't know if I have time. I know I don't have time. I don't have time to do like a complete breakdown video of doing all this and showing you what I'm doing, but basically I'm going to disassemble this. I'm going to soak the carburetor valve body and put all new parts in that I can that comes with this kit. Place everything I can and pray that this thing doesn't spew gas everywhere and runs much better than it does currently.
Gotta put one clip on the little choke, and then I need to get a fuel line tied in that I can temporarily feed the carburetor with a bottle, and then make sure that it's going to run properly. But I need to also put a line down here off the pump so that when we're turning it over, the pump is taking all the crap gas from the tank and pumping it out. So let me get rid of that. So put this fuel line hose onto this one, just shove it over it. I got the carburetor line plugged off. The carburetor and try to recover the fuel out of the tank that's trash. Hopefully this works like I want to, and the fuel pumps into this here bucket. Looks like the carburetor's working as good as it can right now. I'm just bottle feeding it, of course, but I'm going to keep to see if I can keep bottle feeding it, if it'll stay alive. Out. So we've got a new coil. This one used with external resistor. So gotta pick up the resistor too. Ignition's all wired up now to the key. Got a resistor on it. I couldn't find the other resistor on this truck, and I'm guessing because it must have had a coil that had a resistor internally. Sure. I think I've got all the bad gas out. Well, I know I do because I had good gas coming into the bucket. So hook the line back up. I'm gonna start it, see how it likes that gas. I did top off the radiator, took like 3 water bottles. So I'm gonna watch that. Let's make sure this thing doesn't overheat. Let it run for a minute. Now it's time to find out, do we have any brakes? Do we have a transmission? Because I haven't checked. Got a working fuel system. We've got spark, a working ignition system. That's good. Now I know we have drive and reverse at least, and it immediately kicked in, which I kind of assumed the transmission was okay after dealing with the motor issues. The transmission fluid looked pretty good, and it wasn't low. There's no major leaks underneath it, so I can't imagine the transmission was burnt out with, you know, mildly looking good transmission fluid and no leaks underneath. So the transmission I kind of assumed would be good because I figured the motor was why they parked this. So now we've got pretty much everything we need minus the brakes are really weak. It does have brakes though. I mean, it's not shooting fluid everywhere. So tomorrow, first thing, let's bleed the brakes, get all that checked out, get some brakes in it, and then drive it a little bit and see if we can put some gas in it. It needs more gas. I pumped all that out of the tank, and I put just enough gas in it to try it out. It's really low on gas. All right, back running out of gas last night. Starts right up. Oh, she's a smoker. I got one front brake, I think. I don't think this one's trying to do anything. Okay, so I got one front brake. Got to bleed the brakes out. Power steering is like butter smooth. Just great power steering. Seems like she's got power to move about. Seems like she's got some power, so it'll move. That's good. Don't know what the transmission's gonna do yet, except it does go and goes well. Pulls hard. Now will it shift to second, third gear? Who knows? I gotta get some brakes because the brakes are really sketchy. So get this back in the shop really easy. Okay, back to the shop. Well, looking at the rotor, these rotors were changed before it was parked because they're like brand new in thickness. They're huge. I mean, they're not pitted. They might clean up with just the brake pads. If not, I mean, you could have them turned and they'd be perfect. But I mean, yeah, they were brand new. I mean, there's no edge or nothing. They look good. So, and there's a set of really thin, crappy ones in the bed. So that kind of tells me somebody put brakes on it. I'm thinking this brake line's collapsed because it looks so nice. Let me get a light in here so you can see. See, that line looks a little poor. The other side has a newer line on it, so I'm gonna say that might have been a problem. Look at the fuel coming out of the tank. Wow. That fuel filter is just, I mean, so full of crud. See if we get anything out of this thing. Hold on. Go ahead. Yeah. We got nothing. So, we gotta get this brake line off. Replace it. The fluid came out of the caliper. And so, I think we might be good on the caliper side. So that line up in there, I'm not sure if you can see it very well. Yeah, that line, have to break it loose from inside here, and then there's a nut that retains it back here that's never going to come loose. But yeah, we're going to take that off. Get this line out. Well, I got the brake line out. Didn't break anything. It's a miracle. It's got some chew marks on it and stuff, and it's collapsed. As soon as I took this line off, there's fluid leaking out of the line going to it from the master cylinder, so she's collapsed. So we'll get one of these. O'Reilly's has one in stock. Run into town, grab it, bleed these front brakes, and hopefully we'll have front brakes on both wheels, which would be something nice. Okay, let's quit this part. Well, that was a success. Got that tightened, bled the brakes out, and we got a front brake, and the pedal is so much better now that we got that bled. So let's hopefully we have good brakes on the front at least. Let me get the tire back on and take it for another test drive and see if I have brakes. Also, I think the fuel pump is going out, or it's just not pumping enough fuel volume, because I can start to tune it. Every time I get real close, it wants to die. And then if I look at the filter, of course, I'm getting fuel, but it's not very fast flow. And if I let it set, it'll siphon feed into the deal and fill it up, and then I can bottle feed the carburetor. It'll suck that fuel up and then run that thing dry. So fuel pump's just not performing, which I kind of figured it wasn't, because when it was pumping into the can that was over there, it was kind of sluggish, kind of, you know, a little bit of gas here, a lot of gas, then nothing, then hit or miss. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap that fuel pump out, because I don't want it going out down the road, and I can't even let it run long enough. So drive it around a little bit, that's about it. So fuel pump, get it out. So I got the lines off the fuel pump plugged up. Gonna go break the bolts loose on the top, get this one out, get the new one in, hook these back up, and hopefully that fixes our problems. Trying to get this bed cleaned out so I can get my tools in here. So yeah, okay, it's all cleaned out. All right, got it cleaned up, back over to get my tools. So I think I'm gonna keep on these wheels, but I gotta get all this mess cleaned up and put in the truck. Okay. Start. Well, first gas stop. So far, drives really well. I have to say that the power steering on this thing is just butter. It handles great. But besides that, it seems like it's staying cool. We're burning leaves off like crazy, and I'm scared there's stuff in places that I just can't get to with the vacuum, so I'm a little scared of that. But otherwise, the truck is doing truck things, so that's good. Staying cool. Well, I got dash lights, and the speedometer works. Oil pressure gauge, speedometer. The water temperature doesn't work, but the voltage amps thing kind of works. Anyway, she's driving. Gonna stop up here, get a bite to eat. Went ahead and put some gas in it. The gas gauge doesn't work, of course, so it was. So I also got a gas can, so that way, you know, we can use the gas can if we need to limp it to a gas station if I run out. So anyway, give me some food here and then get back on the road. Well, here we go. Onward bound. Got oil pressure. Looks good on that. Gotta take it easy on this first part of the trip. I don't want to get it up too much. Keep it about 50, 55. Fuel gauge started working. Ended up getting 22.86 gallons in, but not sure what's that. So it was saying that it had 1.25 And it looks like it's gonna go up to full. Over, way over there. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's not gonna work again. So apparently once you get over a certain limit, once you get over so much in it, it just takes that gas and says whatever. So anyway, I'm gonna get in, drive some more. Looks like I lost third gear for a second there. Check this fluid. So I added some transmission fluid, but also I'm completely plugged here. So I gotta unplug this fuel filter and then find a screwdriver, and I'll get that fuel filter pulled out and cleaned off. All right, blow out the fuel filter. Let's see what happens. Changed to getting it back to my brother-in-law's house. That right there now seems like a feat with only 2 gears, because we can only do about 30 miles an hour without really revving this motor up. Back yet. Praying this thing holds it in there long enough to get back. I don't really want to have to trailer it. Just got to make it like 10 miles at this point. Almost made it back to my brother-in-law's house with the truck to park it. If I hadn't learned third gear, I think this motor would have made it. I'm actually very happy with the way the motor runs. The motor runs great. In fact, the tranny actually shifted out perfect. I mean, it didn't slip when it shifted. It wasn't dragging out on shifts. It was fine. I mean, it actually shifted out great. Was smooth. I was just cruising 55, being pretty easy on it, and at 55, cruising along, and it just let go. Third gear was gone. You know, I've never worked on transmissions before, really. I mean, I've put them in, taken them out. I've never worked on them. How hard would it be to rebuild one? Or diagnose one? I'm guessing guys that have experience would know exactly what caused this transmission to slip or pop out of third gear, or just stay out of third gear and never go back in. I think this has a TH400 in it, if I remember right, which is a good transmission. Normally stronger than the TH350s. I actually would have expected the transmission in the old 71 to go out before this one would have went, because this one shifts actually better. This one shifted better than that truck shifts now. But I think that truck has a shift kit in it or something that makes it shift a little firmer. Either that or it's bad. I don't know. I think I did learn a lesson here though. I think I focused too hard on this seized up motor and getting this motor to run great, and I came up short on the transmission. Let me know if you want to see me go back down, rebuild the transmission of that truck, and drive it home, because I'm not against doing a first time ever TH400 rebuild. I think it'd be an interesting video. If you want to see it, comment below. Let me know. Let me know if it's common for a half ton to have a 454, and that's a factory engine. It was a one-owner truck, and everything was pretty much original. AC. It did look like it had overload springs on it. Like it looked like a heavy half. I will say that. But let me know. Make comment. And as always, thanks for watching. And subscribe, like it, if you did like it. I mean, only if you liked it. If you didn't like it, if it sucked, I mean, I guess the down. No, don't do that. Don't do the down thing. Just do the up. I mean, you can do the down, I guess, if you want.